What's the deal? Happy Sunday, y'all. Getting rich is the most generous thing you can actually do. I could have made y'all wait till Monday, but I got to move when the Spirit tells me to move. Therefore, someone needs to either hear this message today or see this message today. Therefore, I'm putting it out today, which means those of you that already follow me, y'all about to get this word. With that being said, let this message be a blessing to those of you that need it the most. I hope it gives you the faith of a mustard seed that brings you nothing but health, wealth, prosperity, and the love, increase, protection, and proof you need to win today, over and over again. May the blessings never end. We're number one on Benrich Mindset for a reason, because over here at Benrich Mindset, we give you the truth. We apply the law. We create our own wealth, our own results. That's why getting rich is the most generous thing you can literally do. Wallace D. Wattles said it the best over 100 years ago. And to this day, nobody has proven him wrong. The best thing you can do for the poor is not be one of them, not talk about poverty, not investigate poverty, not build your whole identity around surviving it, but rise out of it completely, unapologetically, and visibly, so that every person watching you rise gets undeniable proof that rising is possible. And that's not selfishness. That's the most profound act of human generosity a human being can actually perform for another human being. Because here's what a wealthy man can do that a struggling man cannot do. He can look his woman in the eyes and say, "You never have to work a job that drains you again." He can pick up the phone when his family calls and respond to them by saying, "Tell me what you need. I got it." He can pour into his community without calculating what he has left in his bank account. He can fund the vision of the people around him who have the talent but don't have the means and resources. He can walk into any room and add value without measuring the cost of his own generosity. That's power, not the power of ego, the power of overflow. And overflow is the only possible way, and it's only possible when you stop apologizing for actually wanting abundance and you start applying the law that makes abundance inevitable in your life. The science of getting rich is that law that I'm speaking of, and I am the living proof that that law works. Now, let me tell you what I mean by living proof so that what I'm saying makes sense to those of you guys visiting this channel for the first time, because this is my actual life that I'm putting on camera. The first time I read this book, I didn't take it seriously, but I listened to it faithfully every morning, day in and day out, on my way to work, every single day. And something started changing and shifting without me even realizing it. I went from commuting to San Diego every morning to landing an even higher paying job than the one I was originally driving out there for. Then I got tired of that drive, decided that that city is it's where I had to be, because San Diego felt different to me. It felt different to my spirit. The people smiled, they waved, they actually greeted each other like kind, civil human beings. Customer service was genuine. The energy was welcoming in a way I had never experienced anywhere else. And it felt like home before it was home. So I made it home. One week, I was taking tours downtown. The next week, I was dropping a deposit. And it wasn't no more than 2 weeks later, I was moving in and walking out onto my balcony with a glass of single barrel whiskey and a cigar looking out at the ocean, the city that felt like it was built for me. The nightlife was lit. Mexico was less than an hour away. Fresh seafood, family owned vineyards, the ocean breeze. I was living in a way that most people can only dream about. But this is the thing, y'all. I didn't respect it because I wasn't conscious back then the way I am now. I was loving life, but I was basically partying my life away, turning up without a single care in the world until it became unhealthy. The vibe was right, the city was right. I just wasn't ready for what I had been given, so I left that life behind, relocated, and as life would have it, sometimes you just got to start fresh, start from the ground up. And I know to some of y'all, the ground up sounds simple until growth slaps you in the face and demands more from you than you've ever had to give to yourself. For the first time in my life, I met and had someone beside me who actually raised the bar, and that person is my fiance, a woman who loved me enough to challenge me. She's one tough cookie. She doesn't play games, and I respect that because she wouldn't let me run the same comfortable program I had been running my entire life. For the first time in my life, I had to face myself. I had to do my shadow work. I had to forgive myself for all of my imperfections and sit with the parts of me that I had been trying to outrun for years. And in the middle of all that, of course, money got depleted, left me in a dark place, unable to move the way I was used to moving and accustomed to moving. And that ended up being the best thing that could ever happen to me. Because for the first time in my life, you know what, y'all? I couldn't run from myself. I had to learn to be with myself, by myself. I had to learn to love myself, comfort myself without making that another person's responsibility. Because making myself happy is my responsibility. I threw myself into work hours and hours until I realized that no matter how many hours I put into this job, I never get ahead and I'm trading my time for money. I needed an anchor and I needed a purpose. And it was my fiance that kept telling me, you need to start a podcast. You need to start a YouTube channel. Your voice needs to be heard. So you see me sitting in front of you, I finally got the courage to do it. And now that I'm doing it, it's the best thing that could have ever happened to my life. And I'm happy I did it. I started with shorts. I moved into long form. The long forms weren't hitting the way I wanted them to because, sometimes you just got to show up and keep showing up until you find your purpose. And it's then when I realized, shit, I'm basically going broke while I'm trying to figure this out. But I had a choice, either return to the hustle that I broke away from or grow through it and stand on my purpose. I chose my purpose. And that choice led me back to the science of getting rich. So here we are. And what I found on this second go round changed everything. I didn't realize the book worked the first time until after I had already gained everything I asked for: San Diego, the apartment, the 6-figure income, the life. that so many people dream of. It all came true, and I received it unconsciously. And because I was irresponsible, I let it all slip through my hands because I wasn't ready. But I'm going to tell you like this, if it worked once, it can work again. And this time I'm taking it seriously, respecting the law, respecting myself, respecting God in me, living through me as me, valuing my woman, holding her to the highest standard, valuing my children, being the provider I know that I am built to be. Because I realize the only way to do all of that fully is by getting rich. So I'm going to remain faithful to the science, knowing it does not fail. I practice what I preach. I know that everything works in my favor. Being grateful for this light that was created in pure darkness because I had to work for it. I had to earn it. And now I have the love, I have the wisdom, and the patience to maintain everything God blesses me with, everything that's coming to me and for me. San Diego is still our happy place for myself and my fiance. And a time will come when we're out there full time, walking that boardwalk, feeling that ocean breeze, living in the city on our terms, on God's time, locked into God's plan. And there's no rush because I'm already rich where I am. And that's all that matters. And I'm building in real time on this camera you watching me film on right now with nothing but a phone, a light, a microphone, and a belief so deep that it already started moving things in the invisible realm that haven't shown up in the physical world yet. But I promise you, they're coming. It is done. I know they're coming the same way I know the sun rises because I have aligned myself with the law that governs all of it and creates all of it. And that law does not fail. So here's what I need you to take away from today. Stop harping on what you've lost. That's a wrap. Lock in on everything you have to gain right now in this moment, because right now is really all we have. Put poverty behind you, not just financially, mentally, spiritually, conversationally. Stop bonding with people over shared struggles like suffering with other people is the same as building with other people, because it's not. Real community is built on shared vision. The vision of what's possible when a man decides to fully, completely, non-negotiably that abundance is not the enemy of good people, that wealth is not the opposite of integrity, that getting rich is not something you apologize for. Getting rich is the vehicle through which you do the most good for the people you love in your life in the shortest amount of time. Let the dead bury the dead. Leave lack behind. Leave every voice that told you to stay small and be realistic and know your place. How can they tell you anything? They need to know their place. You the only one that know your place. God know your place. You create your place. Leave all that negativity behind because none of it gets to come where you going. He has risen, and rising men don't look down. They only look forward. They hold the image of what they're building with such responsibility and clarity and unwavering conviction that the formless substance, that thinking stuff from which all things are made of, has absolutely no choice but to deliver it into physical reality. That's not religion. That's the science working in real time. And I'm running this experiment live right in front of y'all. Every episode is data. Every view that I receive from you guys is confirmation. Every person who finds this channel and says it activated something in them, that's the law working exactly the way Wallace D. Wattles said it would work. So get rich. Inspire others by getting rich. Don't be ashamed to show your work. Fall into your purpose. Document every floor from the basement to the penthouse this go round. And never, not for one single episode, will I make poverty the centerpiece of my story. Because my story is not about where I came from, it's about where I'm going and where you're going. Because where we're going is somewhere nobody in our bloodlines have ever been, seen, or witnessed. Somewhere that's going to make everything that happened before it makes sense. Somewhere that's going to make every person who watched this channel from the very beginning turn to the person next to them and say, I saw this dude build this from nothing. I was there when it was just a man and a microphone and a vision the world couldn't see yet. I watched this man become. That's what you're watching right now. This ain't a highlight reel. I'm giving you the whole game. And the most generous thing that I can do for myself, for you, my family, and the rest of the world is win this game. Get rich. So stick with me from the basement to the penthouse. I'm showing you every single floor. So with that being said, if you got something out of this message or you were encouraged in some type of way, do me a solid. I have a link in the description for you to download the Buy Me a Coffee app. You can follow me on there as well and support the channel by buying me a coffee because I would greatly appreciate it. And I love coffee. And I want to build this channel to be something the world has never seen before. And I can't do that without y'all. So with that being said, we going to end it on a note we always end it on. A1 since day one, baby. All gas. No brakes. Lock in. Peace.